would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Feel the shadows.
They say you can still hear them. The echoes of patience long gone, whispering through the hollow corridors of a building that once promised healing, but delivered only death. Waverly Hills Sanitorium sits like a wounded giant above Louisville, Kentucky. Its windows like dark eyes staring across the valley. Once a monument to medical hope, it became a tomb for thousands, victims of tuberculosis. Forgotten by time, but not by the walls that held them. Some visitors swear the air itself hums with grief. Others claim the shadows move on their own. But perhaps the strangest thing about Waverly Hills isn't the moaning in the hallways or the slamming of unseen doors. It's that even after decades of silence, the place refuses to die. Lights flicker where no power runs. Footsteps echo on empty floors, and every year more people come out, not to heal, but to listen, to feel, to find out what waits inside of one of America's most haunted places. I am Victus, and tonight we are discussing the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. That's right. That's right. Warning, I'm still playing with audio levels. I adjusted a few things, and now I'm afraid some of the sounds are too loud. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to adjust on the fly here. Hello everybody, welcome in. I'm glad you're all here. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 42 of Beyond the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Victus, and tonight we are discussing the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. Yes, I said it. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Very, very popular haunted place. They say one of the most haunted places in the United States, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we got going on tonight. Par for the course, I outsourced this week's script, so I kind of did not prepare to experience what we are going to experience tonight. I'm still just going along for the ride right now. You know what I mean? Why is the audio doing that? Super weird. Okay, cool, whatever. Give me just a minute. I'm resizing some windows here. I even sat down early today to get set up, and I still managed
I'm
to
just
not
gonna
have
be
it.
listening today. I'm at the pet parents' place for dogs sitting overnight.
Hey,
Their internet is shit, so I'm on data, lol. I'll
Oh.
be here until the 6th, so I can't wait to play Valheim with you all. I'm playing the new Pokemon game, though.
Shark. Hello, welcome. Glad you're here. Do what you can. No pressure and no pressure in anything. If you've got to do your diligent duties, do your thing. No big deal. I'm glad you're here. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to playing some Valheim. I have like 11 hours of building already on the server that I have put together. Oh geez. Nobody's giving me direction and nobody else has signed on to the server, so I have just been willy-nilly building. I don't know what I'm building. I'm just building one gigantic structure at this point. The home base started out in a wooded area. Now it's in a big, gigantic clearing. I have cut down every single tree in the immediate vicinity. So, just saying, be ready for that. I'm probably going to play a little bit after we
I'm
get
not
done
missing
today.
this episode, but I'm in a huge delay.
Oh, jeez. Shucks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know what it's like to run on data. It seems like you can't refresh fast enough. And it seems like every time I start doing the podcast, There's a smudge on my glasses. Every single time. I love wearing glasses, but dang it. But hey, no big deal. We do what you can. You know, you don't even got to tune in the whole thing. I'm just glad you're here. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Here you go. You can have this. That's for you. Yeah, the audio's a little hot. Because I can't figure out the freaking audio boost for this one backing track we're listening to right now. Gonna have to reproduce this thing anyway. Welcome in, everybody. Season 2, episode 42. I am Victus, and this is Beyond the Shadows podcast. Tonight, we are discussing the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. We're going to have some fun here. No emails this week. That's okay. As far as I know, no new subscribers, but we are doing a simultaneous multi-stream. We are also currently streaming live on YouTube. We're going to see how that goes. Seems like the signal strength is looking good. You know, I haven't seen any issues yet, so I've got 4 screens over here, 1 over here, and then the soundboard in front of me, so I'm monitoring a lot of things tonight. Hopefully everything's going to go out just fine. Any hoots and hollers, so let's get into it. We have this week's news and paranormal coming up. As soon as I find the tab, it's here somewhere. Here it is. Let's get into this week's news and paranormal. Are you guys ready? Because I'm ready. Let's dive into it. As of November 2nd, 2025, this is your week's news in paranormal. We're going to start with some paranormal-themed entertainment. The paranormal world is seeing a surge in mainstream media attention, particularly with new and returning TV shows and series. True Haunting, a 5-episode series executive produced by horror master James Wan, premiered on Netflix in October 2025, gaining significant attention for its focus of real-life haunting cases at Erie Hall. Haunted, the Heartlight Paranormal Files, a new series starring Alan Reeves, a former student and colleague of the famous ghost hunters Ed and Lorraine Warren, started in August of this year and emphasizes the human stories behind the hauntings. So here's a crazy one for you right here. Celebrity ghost hunting. Reality star Nicole Snooki Palazzi, yeah, that's Snooki, is set to star in a new Canadian paranormal reality series premiering in 2026, which highlights the continued crossover of celebrity culture and ghost hunting. Yeah, if it didn't get any better than that. And Ghost Adventures, this long-running series, began a new season on Discovery Channel in October of 2025. New data and sociological research have begun a significant talking point. A Gallup poll on belief, a May 2025 Gallup poll revealed that about 4 out of 10 Americans still believe in ghosts, showing that belief in the paranormal remains common and largely unchanged over the past 2 decades. In other news, psychologists and sociologists are actively researching the human draw to the macabre. And why some people believe in ghosts and other phenomena. The theories suggest that these beliefs might help people cope with uncertainty or fill a void left by declining traditional religious participation. And in other notable investigation and events, historical location investigations, recent investigations reported a, quote, chilling activity, quote, end quote, in a well-known haunted location such as Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania, and the historic Morris Jumel Mansion in New York City, where investigators used dowsing rods and other equipment. Local news outlets featured numerous real-life stories and encounters of the supernatural, segments around Halloween this year, with the ordinary people sharing their unexplained experiences, such as a woman in Virginia sharing her story after being featured on a television show and local news. And lastly but not least, conventions. Various paranormal conventions and expos are scheduled across the United States for late 2025 and 2026, indicating a vibrant and engaging community of enthusiasts. And that is your week's news and paranormal. Let me know if those sound effects are a little too loud. I feel like they are. Maybe it's just me. They just come across a little too loud to me. And when I listen to playback, when I'm uploading, it never sounds as good. So the only way to tell is, if somebody's listening. So that is our week's news and paranormal. And I was talking with somebody today. And they looked at me. You know what they said? And this is surprising. But you know what they said? They asked me a question, a very specific question. They asked me, what shirt are you wearing today? What shirt indeed? What shirt are we wearing today? Today I am wearing one of my very favorite Japanese, for some reason, strawberry milk Mothman shirts. Check it out. Mothman loves his strawberry milk for some reason. Apparently it's a very popular shirt in Japan for some reason. I don't understand why Mothman loves strawberry milk, but he does. So, hey, this is my cool Japanese Mothman strawberry milk shirt. So there's that. That's what we got going on today. Yes. So we have no other news to report this week. Everything is all quiet on the paranormal front. Things are looking good. We are getting close to the end of season 1, folks. And if you have any, I will say again, if you have any tales of paranormal happenings, personal stories, or something that you want to hear on any of these episodes, feel free to reach out at beyondshadowspodcast@gmail.com. Wherever you're watching, this information should be attached to this video. If you're watching on Twitch right now while we're live, scroll down a little bit, you'll see the email button. Click on that and tell me your stories. If you want to tell us your story, I'll read them out here in the podcast. We'll talk about it. Or if you have a suggestion for a future episode, let me know. beyondshadowspodcast@gmail.com. Email me. Tell me we're doing good. Tell me we're doing bad. I don't care. It's fine. We've got 11 minutes till ads, everybody. So if you're watching live, we've got 11 minutes till ads. I'm trying my best to keep up with it this time. We'll see what happens. I got to move one little screen here. Yes. That's what I needed. So welcome in, everyone. We're going to dive right off into it. Tonight, we are discussing the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. Now, I will say that I did try to find like some good EVPs, because apparently this is such a horribly haunted location that there is umpteen evidence, quote unquote evidence, out there. All right. So I'm like, cool, let's do a deep dive. Let's see what we can find in the ways of evidence. So I'm like, how great would it be to have some really good EVPs on tonight's episode? And I probably listened to like 50 of them. and I just really wasn't impressed. I really wasn't. If it didn't sound like a radio in somebody's pocket, it just sounded like somebody in the next room talking. And if there was a voice that sounded slightly disembodied and not attached to the group doing the investigation, it was hard to discern whether or not it was really like EVP stuff or somebody making a sound behind the recorder. So decided not to show any EVPs or play any EVPs tonight. However, I was like, cool, flip side of that coin. One of the most haunted places in America, surely there's thousands of pictures, right? Well, sorry to tell you, but that is not the case. I found one good picture, and then it seems like everybody just talks about this one picture. So we're just gonna, I guess we're just gonna talk about that stuff tonight. I'll show you the one picture, and we'll do this investigation. We'll come to terms at the end, whether we think everything's paranormal. You know the routine. But But yeah, this should be interesting. I'm looking forward to this. Hold on, I gotta turn this air conditioner on. It's getting hot in here already. Jeez, I just shut it off 10 minutes ago. It's already freaking 78 degrees in here. So many computers running. Well, alright folks, let's dive into it. Oh, I need to make sure this works. I didn't check it. Oh yeah, it does. Cool. That was why I was a minute late. My my Stream Deck thing here wasn't triggering correctly. But we're triggering now, and that's all that matters. Alright, let's get into it. I keep saying it, but let's get into it. This is Season 2, Episode 42, Beyond the Shadows podcast, and this is the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. Let's go. Before it became one of the most haunted structures in America, Waverly Hills was a symbol of progress. Louisville, Kentucky in the early 1900s was thriving, but it carried a silent plague, tuberculosis, known then as the White Death. It spread like wildfire through the Ohio Valley. The humid air and poor sanitation made it the perfect breeding ground. By 1908, the epidemic had reached catastrophic levels. Entire families were wiped out, hospitals overflowed, and the cities were desperate. At the time, tuberculosis wasn't just a death sentence, it was a slow, agonizing fade. The disease devoured lungs, left patients coughing blood, and isolated them from society. There were no antibiotics, no vaccines. The only treatment was rest, sunlight, and fresh air. So when Jefferson County officials decided to build a dedicated sanatorium, it was seen as an act of mercy, a beacon of hope on a hill. The first Waverly Hills facility wasn't the massive Gothic fortress we picture today. It began humbly in 1910 as a small 2-story wooden building designed for just 40 to 50 patients. It stood atop a quiet forested hill on land once owned by a man named Thomas H. Hayes. Hayes, a local tobacco farmer, had built a small one-room schoolhouse there decades earlier and named it Waverly School, after the Waverly novels by Sir Walter Scott. The name stuck, and when the land was sold to the city for the new hospital, officials kept it Waverly Hills. Within just a few days, the epidemic worsened, and the little sanatorium was overwhelmed. The death toll climbed into the thousands, and Waverly's wooden walls couldn't contain the suffering. Construction began in a new massive brick structure designed in the Tudor Gothic style. Arched windows, steep roofs, long corridors stretching endlessly into the dark. When it opened in 1926, the new Waverly Hills Sanatorium could house more than 400 patients. It wasn't a hospital in the traditional sense, it was a city unto itself. The grounds had a post office, a working farm, a library, even a barber shop. And patients weren't expected to leave until they were cured or dead. Doctors and nurses lived on site for years, isolated from their families, breathing the same air as the infected. Everything was designed around one central belief, that clean air and sunlight could save lives. Large solariums lined with windows were built so patients could soak in the sun, even in the winter. Beds were wheeled out into open porches so that patients could breathe the fresh mountain air, even in sub-zero temperatures. But optimism faded quickly. No matter how many wards they built or how many patients they treated, death remained the most frequent visitor. And by the 1930s, Waverly Hills had become a house of the dying. Records are incomplete, but estimates suggest that more than 60,000 people may have died there over its decades of operation. Some say fewer, some say more, but death was definitely a daily occurrence. Nurses leaned nurses learned to move through the halls quietly, pushing stretchers covered with white sheets, headed towards the one place every staff member dreaded: the body chute. The tunnel stretched over 500 feet down the hillside, leading to a railway at the bottom. Officially, it was designed to move supplies discreetly up the hill and remove waste. In practice, it was used to transport the dead away from the hospital, unseen. The administrators wanted to keep the morale high. Patients who saw the dead being carried out each day began to lose hope, and when you were dying of tuberculosis, hope was often all you had left. They say the staff tried to make death invisible, but the walls remembered. Inside Waverly, every floor had its own rhythm of sorrow. The 5th floor was the most infamous. This was where the isolation ward stood, reserved for the most contagious and hopeless cases. It also held the nurses' station, and later, a room that would become legendary among ghost hunters, Room 502. Stories claim that a nurse was found hanging from a light fixture there in 1928, supposedly after discovering she was pregnant and unmarried. A scandal at the time. Another tale insists a second nurse later jumped to her death from that same floor. Whether those details are true or not, one thing is certain. Even in life, that floor carried an atmosphere of despair. Through the Great Depression and into World War II, Waverly continued to operate. The treatments became more invasive, more experimental. When sunlight and rest failed, doctors turned to surgery. Lungs were artificially collapsed to rest them. Ribs were removed. Balloons were inserted into chests to expand lung capacity. Many patients didn't survive the procedures. In the 1940s, a sliver of hope arrived. Streptomycin, the first true antibiotic for tuberculosis, was discovered in 1943. Within a decade, the disease that had once ravaged entire communities was in retreat, and by 1961, Waverly Hills closed its door as a tuberculosis hospital. Thousands had entered seeking life, and tens of thousands never left. But the building itself remained. Its halls still echoed with the memories of coughs, cries, and whispered prayers. For a brief time, it reopened as a geriatric facility called Woodhaven Medical Services in 1962. Yet, that chapter turned dark. Reports of patient neglect, mistreatment, and overcrowding surfaced through the 1970s. By 1981, Woodhaven was shut down for good, and when the last patients were evacuated, Waverly fell silent. The rooms emptied, the air grew still, and nature began to reclaim what humanity had abandoned. Yet even in ruin, the place had a pulse. Locals whispered that the old sanatorium wasn't truly empty, that something lingered in these halls. Shadows in the stairwells, lights in the windows at night, distant screams echoing across the valley. Waverly Hills was once a place of science and healing, had become something else entirely. A monument to death, and those who dared to enter after dark. It was only the beginning. Awesome. Great Act 1 there. That was really good. Let's find some pictures of this place. I want to see it. I know we looked at it last week. Oh my lord, this place is huge. Wow. Let's switch scenes here. Yeah, this place is gigantic. Oh my gosh, look at this this aerial shot. Holy jeez. Absolutely massive. That's what she said. Yeah. I could see hundreds of people being crammed into this facility.
Best viewers smntop4.ru at Y7K88BLK.
Best viewers, huh? Best viewers, huh? We're just gonna do our thing right here, right quick. Boop. Boop. There we go. This viewer was flagged as a possible ban evader. Yeah. Why did... How was it a possible ban evader? It's just, obviously, it's a freaking bot. Anyway, sorry about that interruption, folks. Robots in the system, that's what they do. Oops, sorry, I forgot to give you all a heads up about the ad there. Jeez, I'm trying my best to watch it. It's just not happening. Okay, let's look at this, let's look at this. You know what this reminds me of? I wonder, let me switch scenes right quick. I want to look at something right quick. I want to... So, I grew up, you know, as some of you guys know, I grew up partially just outside of Detroit in a little bitty town called Wyandotte in Michigan. You know, I didn't stay there forever. I did move down south later, or early on in my teens. But I did remember the high school. And you know what? Waverly Hills Sanitorium looks like my old high school in Michigan. All right, Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Here's my old high school. Oh, here we go. Let's close this one. I can't help but feel there's a correlation here. Maybe it's just me. Jeez. Ah, gosh. I mean, I guess that's the building style back then, right? It's an old building. Sanatorium? High school. Sanatorium? High school. I'm sorry, but... why are we building sanatoriums in the same architecture, structure, and style as a... or why are we building high schools in the same architecture, structure, and style as a sanatorium? Not so sure about that one. Let's see. Let's find this chute here. The body chute. Where is it at here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, this thing's haunted. 100% haunted. Oh, that's a bad picture. Let me open the full image here. Yeah. Haunted. Haunted. Absolutely haunted. Okay, so I do watch other paranormal investigators on YouTube. I'm a fan, right? What is a watcher? So their watcher now used to be BuzzFeed Unsolved. Well, BuzzFeed Unsolved is still there. They moved on and started their own company. Shane and Ryan started their own thing called Watcher, and they went and did an investigation here. And this tunnel is so long, so long. They walked and walked and walked, and it's just watching it was just spooky, man. Like, it's, jeez. It comes out to a set of train tracks? That's kind of strange. Well, I guess... I'm curious to, like, where it is in relation to, like, the opening in relation to the building. Hold, please. Let me switch scenes. I don't want to 100% show off where I'm living. Oh, okay. Here we go. We're going to do what we do here. Let's change these layers up. All right. So where are the train tracks? Train tracks. I'm gonna guess...
That place terrifies me. I saw this one show that featured a group of people went there, and at one point, they were near where they kept bodies, and it yanked open by itself when they were downstairs, went to check, and they fucked all the way out.
I believe it. Alright, so Watcher, if you're not familiar, it's one of my very favorite shows. I love Watcher. They're all over YouTube. One guy is a full-blown believer. The other guy is a full-blown skeptic. And they've been making YouTube videos for 20-plus years. And they click so well. Like, you could tell that they're really good friends. And they really do what they love. They went here, and the non-believer... Like, he tried playing it off like, oh, I'm not scared of all this hubbub. You know, this stuff doesn't spook me out at all. Until he got down in the body chute. And he was just, yeah, he was spooked to death, man. I'm going to guess and say that's where the tunnel comes out. I'm just grasping at straws here. I wonder if I can get a street view. Ooh, there's a street view here. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's the... Oh, yeah, look, there's... Oh, okay. So where's the tunnel? I want to know where the tunnel comes out. That's all I really want to know. I mean, I'm sure it's, like, under the facility. These poor apartments. Oh, my gosh, these poor apartment buildings. They're so close. Look at this. Could you imagine? Look how much money do you want to bet this house costs right here? Let's do some Zillow to the rescue. I want to see. I want to see what that house sold for. $36,000? Really? Okay, so that's like half of the cost of my house. I need to move to Kentucky. Jeez, okay. Could you imagine, though, that close to Waverly Hills? Where does the tunnel come out? I want to know where the tunnel comes out. The body chute leads to an exit at the bottom of the hill where ambulances would take the bodies off. Okay, then sure. Oh, wait. Is it here? Can we get a street view on this?
Fuck no.
I just want to know where the chute comes out, because I want to know who's living next to this damn body chute. I just want to know. Can I do the 3D view on this? Oh, that's Google Earth. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Oh, jeez. I just want to know where the freaking body chute comes out. Somebody drop me a pin. The specific point is sealed off. Underground tunnels not publicly visible or separately pinpointed on a landmark on standard Google Maps interface. The best way to get to the general area of the sanatorium is use GPS. Bibbidi-bop. Which you can access the sanatorium. Okay.
He's never live that close, L. Fuck no.
Yeah, I would
It.
never. I would never want to live that close. That's horrible. I want to know where this body chute comes out. I'm gonna guess it's here. I wish I could see that a little bit better. That makes the only thing that makes sense. It's either that or it's been sealed, and oh wait, it's only 500 foot. Okay, so there's a road here. I'm wondering if the body chute just like goes off. Oh, it must come down to like this road. Yeah, that must be it. There's a couple roads here. Oh! Hell no. Hell no. Nope. I ain't living there. Ain't no way. Yeah, that's too close. That's like a quarter mile. Can I measure on this? I know you can on your phone. Let me measure on here. That's so dumb. I need to just go and get Google Earth installed on here so we can do these actual, play with these actual things. But yeah, that's just crazy. Why would they build a freaking sanatorium? Or why would they build freaking houses that close to one of the most haunted places in America? No way. No freaking way. You got me messed up. That ain't happening. Not this guy. I mean, I used to live like a quarter mile from a cemetery, but it was hidden really well, so I never really saw it. But you could walk there. It was like a block away. Just weird. Weird indeed. All right, let's move forward, folks. That's enough of this. We may come back to this here in a little bit. I just want to know. Okay, look at this. Here's the opening. I just want to show this off. So that's where it comes out at. So it's out here in the trees. Oh, there's like, what's the metal here? There must have used to have been like a building here. Interesting. Yeah, it's got to be on this dirt road right here. Gotta be. That's the only thing that makes sense. It probably just comes straight down. Or maybe right here. Oh, I was really hoping for street view on this. Ain't gonna happen. Ah, dang. I just wanted to see the hole. I wanted to know where it's at because I wanted to know. I just want to know if these people that live this close to this thing know what's out here. I mean, I'm sure they all know. That's just wild, man. Wild. Well, cool. So that place is haunted like a motherfucker. Like a son bitch. Are you ready to get into Act 2? We've got 2 minutes until the ad starts. We can... Well, go ahead and snooze this one. So we can get off into it, because I rambled for a little too long. Sorry about that. This big beer can is very strong. And I ramble. I'm rambling and drinking. Sorry, not sorry. Alright, folks, let's get off into it. Act 2, everybody. Act 2, The Descent into Darkness. When the last patients and staff left Waverly Hills in 1981, the building didn't simply go dark, it exhaled. The hum of electricity stopped, the smell of disinfectant faded, and for the first time in 70 years, the hilltop fell silent. Yet those who ventured near swore that silence didn't last long. Within months, stories began to circulate among locals. Stories of lights flickering in the upper windows when the power had long been shut off, of whispers drifted through the trees, of children's laughter echoing down the hill. Teenagers dared each other to break in, and what they found left them shaken. The air inside was different, thick, charged. Wait, I need to say that differently. The air was different. Yuck. Charged. Some described it as if the building itself were breathing. Broken wheelchairs sat frozen in the hallways, rusted hospital beds, overturned gurneys, peeling paint like dead skin on the walls. Graffiti from decades of trespassers mixed with the faded hospital markings. Ward C, treating room, isolation 5. Every hallway looked the same, and yet somehow every one of them felt wrong. Locals told of a group of vandals who broke in during the mid-'80s and fled minutes later after hearing what they swore were footsteps following them from room to room. They thought it was security until one of them turned back and saw the source. Not a guard, but a dark figure, solid and human-sized, standing perfectly still in the doorway. When they shined their flashlights on it, it didn't move, it simply vanished. And that was just the beginning of Waverly Hills' second life as a legend. Room 502. Of all the tales born within Waverly's crumbling halls, none became more infamous than the one surrounding Room 502. It sits on the 5th floor, the floor meant for the most hopeless tuberculosis cases, that same floor where nurses once slept. The story goes, in 1928, a young nurse was found hanging from a light fixture in room 502. The rumor that she'd become pregnant by a doctor who refused to take responsibility, and overwhelmed by the shame, she took her own life. Some versions add that she was only 29, others say that she was 27. Records are murky. The hospital kept few personal accounts, and official death reports were often clinical and detached. But people who visit the room today describe a feeling that anything but detached. Many claim that they can still feel her despair lingering in the air, a heavy sadness pressing down on their chest. Investigators had captured temperature drops, sudden spikes in EMF readings, and even disembodied voices. One team in the 90s wrote that they swore they heard a woman's voice whisper, "Help me." Another captured a faint, rhythmic tapping, as if someone were swaying gently from above. The legend deepened years later when another nurse was said to have leapt to her death from the same floor. No records confirm this either, but the rumors persist. 2 suicides, both from room 502. Whether true or not, visitors to that floor report the same thing, an overwhelming sense of being watched. A sense so intense, it seems physical. The body chute. If room 502 was the heart of the sorrow, the body chute was the artery through which death flowed. The tunnel, stretched roughly 500 feet down the hillside, became infamous for its grim purpose. During the height of the tuberculosis epidemic, Waverly Hills was losing patients at a staggering rate, sometimes 1 per hour. The staff wanted to keep up morale, to protect the living from despair. So instead of rolling bodies through the front doors, they were quietly moved to the underground tunnel out of sight. gurneys squealed against the concrete, the smell of disinfectant mixed with decay. At the bottom, hearses waited to carry them away. And when the hospital shut down, the tunnel remained. Silent, cold, and slick with condensation. Modern visitors often describe it as the most haunted part of the property. Shadows dart across the walls where there's no light source. Voices echo from below. Paranormal teams report being touched, grabbed, or shoved. One investigator described feeling a hand wrapped around his ankle and yank, hard enough to leave bruises. Even hardened skeptics admit the chute has a presence. The air feels thicker there. The darkness heavier. It's the kind of place where even your own breathing sounds like it belongs to someone else. Next we have the children's ward. Not all of Waverly's ghosts are said to be tragic adults. Some of its most famous spirits are the children who once played in the open-air solariums. Their laughter, a bittersweet reminder of innocence lost. The most well-known of this is Timmy. Visitors say Timmy is a young boy who died at Waverly sometime in the 1930s. He's playful, not menacing. He rolls a ball down the hallway when asked. A trick caught on camera more than once. Paranormal groups have brought dozens of balls to the site. Dozens of balls to the site. Ah, jeez, I've lost my spot. All the talk about dozens of balls strip me up. Wop, wop, wop. Paranormal groups have brought dozens of balls to the site. They swear that one always moves on its own, slowly and deliberately. Some investigators claim to have heard giggles echoing through the children's wing, or seen small handprints appear in the dust on walls and windows. It's easy to imagine. Hundreds of children once lived there, isolated from their families, clinging to whatever joy they can find. For many, Waverly was the only world they ever knew. And now we've come to my favorite part. Because I love me some shadow people. I do. But it's not all laughter and whispers. What unsettled visitors most are the figures known as shadow people. Dozens of witnesses, from thrill seekers to seasoned investigators, describe the same phenomena. Tall, human-shaped silhouettes moving along the walls, darker than the darkness around them. They don't behave like shadows cast by light. They dart, linger, and sometimes seem to approach. Sometimes appear to crawl. Others stand motionless until you turn away, only to reappear closer when you look back. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps over here. I love me some good shadow people stories. Yeah, I'm gonna have some nightmares tonight. Yeesh. Skeptics chalk it up to pareidolia, the brain's tendency to see patterns in low light. But those who've seen inside Waverly after midnight will tell you otherwise. They'll tell you about the feeling of static before one appears, the rush of cold air, the electric buzz under the skin. They'll tell you the shadow seems aware. One of the most repeated accounts comes from a volunteer tour guide who spent years at the sanatorium. Late one evening after locking up, he heard heavy footsteps echoing from the third-floor hallway, thinking a visitor had been left behind. He called out. No answer. He followed the sound until he saw a figure standing at the end of the hall, perfectly still. The man raised his flashlight, but the beam didn't cut through the darkness. The figure absorbed it like the light was being swallowed. Then it turned and glided into the wall. And he quit the next morning. By the 1990s, word of mouth turned Waverly Hills into a paranormal pilgrimage site. Urban explorers and thrill seekers flocked to the property, drawn by tales of ghostly nurses, moving shadows, and screams in the tunnels. When Tina and Charlie Mattingly purchased the property in 2001, they found it in ruins, vandalized, decayed, and overrun with myths. But instead of tearing it down, they embraced the history. The Mattinglys began offering guided tours and overnight investigations, inviting visitors to experience the legends firsthand. What followed cemented Waverly's reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the world. Television crews arrived, ghost hunters, ghost adventures, Destination Fear, Paranormal Lockdown. Each show left with its own collection of unexplained noises, moving shadows, and disembodied voices. EVP recordings captured the strange phrases, "Go back," "Get out," "Don't leave me." Cameras shut off unexpectedly. Doors opened them by themselves. One investigator described hearing his name whispered in his ear when he was alone. Another claimed to see a shadow crouched on the ceiling. The legend spread faster than the infection that once filled the halls. Waverly Hills became synonymous with the American hauntings, a place where tragedy left fingerprints on reality itself. So what makes Waverly so different from other haunted sites isn't just its scale or its history. It's the way the building feels alive. The air inside seems to hum. The temperature shifts inexplicably between rooms. Voices echo where there are no people. Those who spend time there talk about a phenomena that's harder to document but impossible to ignore. Emotion. Visitors describe feeling sadness so intense it moves them to tears, even when they walked in as skeptics. Some claim the building amplifies what you bring into it: fear, grief, curiosity, reflecting it back tenfold. It's as if Waverly Hill absorbed decades of human suffering and learned to replay it, not as memory, but as manifestation. The sanatorium that once promised life had become a theater for the dead, a place where the air still carries the weight of thousands of last breaths, and yet the deeper one ventures, the clearer it becomes that Waverly's story isn't finished. The shadows still move, the whispers still rise, and some say the building itself wants to be seen, remembered, and feared. Because Waverly Hills was never just a hospital. It was, and perhaps still is, alive. Okay. That's the end of Act 2, everybody. We're deep. We're in it deep. I want to give a shout out to anybody watching on YouTube live tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I think you're there. The analytics are strange. I'm still getting used to live streaming on YouTube. I'm so used to Twitch. If you're there, I'm glad you're here. I really am. Thank you for being here. Okay, so Act 2 really broke down a lot of what people are seeing, right? Kind of what you'd expect when the high number for what people believe in deaths is 60,000. Yeah, this place is haunted. Absolutely, this place is haunted. I remember, and I'm going to keep talking about Watcher because I love these guys. They are great. It's the perfect pairing for paranormal investigators. The best way to do it is to have a believer and a skeptic go into a place, right? And it's important that they have good chemistry, right? So these guys have really, really good chemistry. And I remember when I watched them go to Waverly Hills, they were setting up like cameras and motion sensors, and they called them cat balls. All right, so they're these little balls that when they're still they don't do anything, but when you move them, they light up, they flash, right? So these guys it's in their arsenal of investigation tools. They use it all the time, are these cat balls. So they set up cameras that point like down hallways, into rooms, what have you. And they're doing the investigation at Waverly Hills, and they left one of their cameras sitting on the ground, pointed down a hallway. And then they put like some investigation tool. I don't remember what it was. Maybe just like a sensor that reads like temperature drop or something, or motion, something like that. They left it in a room near the camera that they set up, right? So the camera's pointing down a hallway, and at the end of the hallway is where the camera's sitting. To the right of that camera is a room, and in that room is where they set up this little sensor. I forget precisely what. I wish I could remember. So, end of the hallway, camera's on the floor. To the right of the camera is a room, and in that room is their sensor. Well, they're walking around doing their thing, and behind them, they hear the sensor going off. So they go back. They go back to the room where the sensor was, and the camera had turned by itself from pointing down the hallway to pointing in the room where the sensor was. And, okay, so my skeptical brain was like, oh, well, they passed by. They must have kicked it or something, right? No, that's not at all what happened. They played the footage back on the show. They were down the hallway, away from it in the opposite direction, right? And it's like something bumps it, and it turns 90 degrees to point into the room. And as soon as it points into the room, that sensor goes off. They couldn't explain it. They were like, oh, well, maybe we brushed it on our way back. But once they played it back and watched the footage, they're like, I don't understand. I don't, one of them was like, oh my God, it's a ghost. It's a ghost. And the other one was like, oh, it's the wind or something, I mean, skeptics doing what skeptics do. But great show. Y'all need to go out and check out Watcher. They do really great investigations. Really great. Watcher, plugging them on YouTube. I will shout them out all day long. As a matter of fact, just a couple months ago, they did an investigation like a quarter mile from the house I used to live at when I lived in Arkansas. Had no idea the place was even haunted. When I saw them talking about the Clayton house, I was like, Clayton house? Why does that sound so familiar? And then once I pulled up the video, they're like, Fort Smith, Arkansas's famous haunted. I was like, oh my God, that was down the street. And I'm like, I'm driving with my wife. I'm like, look, it was down the street from where we used to live. I get excited about dumb shit. I do. Anyway. Well, we've come to Act 3. Are y'all ready for Act 3? Because Act 3 is all about investigations and evidence. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm excited because I know you're excited. We do have an ad coming up in 6 minutes if you're watching on Twitch. All right, let's get into Act 3, everybody. But first, I'm going to finish this tall frosty beverage. And I'm going to open one more. Let's get silly. Let's get silly. Yeah. All right, folks. Are you all ready for Act 3? Let's get into it. Ooh, that's delicious. Act 3. So by the early 2000s, Waverly Hills wasn't just a ruin on a hill anymore. It was a phenomenon. What began as whispered legends among locals and had evolved into something much larger. Ghost hunters, historians, and skeptics all wanted the same thing: answers. Was Waverly Hills really haunted, or was it simply reputation? Or was its reputation simply the product of its grim history and fertile imagination? When Tina and Charlie Mattingly took ownership of the property in 2001, the building was in decay. Roofs sagged, graffiti covered the walls, and vandals had stripped away what little remained of its medical equipment. Yet there was something undeniable about the place. A gravity that pulled people in. The Mattingleys could have demolished Waverly Hills, cleared the land, and erased its past. Instead, they embraced its legend. They began by restoring portions of the building and hosting guided tours. These weren't sensationalized ghost walks at first. They were history tours designed to educate visitors about the tuberculosis epidemic and the role the Waverly played in it. But people didn't just come to hear about the medical past. They came to experience something. And the Mattingleys soon noticed that the paranormal activity visitors reported wasn't isolated or sporadic. It was consistent. Staff members began keeping logs of strange occurrences. Voices on the upper floors, doors closing on their own, cold spots that drifted through hallways. In one early record in 2002, a maintenance worker wrote that he saw a figure crossing the hall near the old morgue entrance. The note read, word spread, and Waverly Hills quickly became the most sought-after locations for paranormal investigations. The early 2000s were the golden age of ghost hunting television. Shows like Ghost Hunters and Most Haunted and Scariest Places on Earth began bringing paranormal research into the living rooms worldwide. Waverly Hills became the crown jewel, the place to go if you wanted undeniable proof of life after death. In 2006, the Ghost Hunters crews of the Sci-Fi Channel arrived for their first investigation. They spent the night inside, armed with EMF detectors, infrared cameras, digital voice recorders. What they captured became some of the show's most chilling footage. In one now famous scene, a camera positioned down a long hallway on the 4th floor caught the shape of a shadow, roughly human in size, darting across the light at the end of the far end. No one was there. No team member had been on that floor. The crew replayed the footage again and again, unable to explain what they saw. It was enough to cement Waverly Hills' reputation as one of the most active locations in the country. Soon after, ghost adventures followed. Zach Baggins and his crew locked themselves inside the sanatorium overnight, documenting their experiences in the dark. Their recordings were full of what they called intelligent responses, direct answers to questions asked aloud, captured as EVPs, voices that no human had spoken, but that had appeared on playback nonetheless. Leave. Get out. You are not welcome. I'm just gonna say, I don't like Zach Baggins' crew. Alright, I'm just gonna, let me interject. 2 seconds. Alright, 2 seconds. I don't like that they go in and they directly taunt whatever is there. Like, they berate them. They try to make them be active. Don't force them to be active. Don't talk to them like they're not people. They are people. Or they were people. Don't disrespect the ghosts, right? I mean, come on. You gotta go in with respect for the place. If you don't respect them, they won't respect you. When you are disrespectful to the spirits, it just feeds into the negativity. It gives people the idea that they can go into a place like that and say what they want to say without repercussions. It's all fun and games until somebody carries a demon home on their back, right? So Zach Baggins, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I don't like the way you do things. You know, kudos, you're making money doing what you do. You don't have to talk crazy to them. Go in and investigate like normal folks. Talk to them. It's like training a dog. Like, I've been training my dog for the last 6 months. Don't talk to him like he's a little baby. Don't belittle him. I talk to my dog like he's a person. I don't use puppy voice. I don't go you. Say, hey, we got to go this way. Look, stop, sit, and he does. You treat him with respect. The respect is inferred. Come on, Zach Baggins, do your thing. Do your freaking thing. It wasn't just the famous teams either. Amateur investigators from around the world began flocking to Waverly Hills, renting the building for overnight sessions. Many came as skeptics and left as believers. So now we've come to evidence about EVPs. So the electronic voice phenomena became the cornerstone of Waverly's modern legend. Recordings captured in the halls contained whispers, sighs, even full sentences, often in direct response to questions. Some were indistinct and others shockingly clear. A 2007 group from Indiana Paranormal recorded a woman's voice saying, "Turn on the light," moments after they had asked if anyone was there. Another group from UK captured what they claimed was a child giggling, followed by a faint cough. Skeptics, of course, offered explanations: background noise, stray radio frequencies, or simple auditory pareidolia, the mind imposing meaning on random sounds. But even experienced audio engineers struggled to explain how, in a place with no electricity and thick concrete walls, so many recordings contained coherent speech patterns. For those who've spent time inside Waverly, the EVPs aren't random. They're personal. They seem to address individuals by name, answer specific questions, or mimic familiar sounds. A woman's laugh, a child's cry, the squeak of old wheels. The most famous EVP session took place in the death tunnel. Investigators asked if anyone remembered being taken down it. The response was a single soft word: So now I'm curious. I mean, I want to hear these EVPs. Let's see if we can find it. What is this? No, that's one I've seen already. Come on. How are you gonna say that you've got the best EVP and then you don't let us hear the damn EVP? Like, come on. Is that so far-fetched? Is it? Okay, here we go. We're gonna play these guys' audio. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyright ding for this at all, but I'm gonna try it. So this is Waverly Hills Sanitorium EVPs. This is Second Light Paranormal. So I'm sorry if I'm using your stuff out of turn here. I apologize ahead of time. It wasn't meant to be. I'm not stealing your light. I just want to hear some evidence. That's all I want to do. So this is in the cafeteria, an EVP that says the word ball.
Talk to us. Can you make our green light up different colors?
Nope, wait. We skipped around. Hold on. This is the one that says ball.
Ball? You want ball? 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 You want...
Okay, so it definitely sounds like you're using a spirit box. I wouldn't call this an EVP. I really wouldn't. Because what a spirit box does is it randomly scans radio frequencies, and the concept behind it is if it plays a fraction of a second from each radio frequency, and somehow it's able to string together those sounds from the fraction of a second from each radio frequency and make a coherent sound, the concept is, yes, it's a spirit, it's an entity. However, sometimes this can give you a false positive. I don't like the spirit boxes. Pareidolia is a big thing here because you're really straining. You really want to hear what you want to hear. Well, let's go to this next EVP. It says cafeteria EVP breath 1. So I'm assuming we're going to hear like a breath sound. Let's hear what we got.
You want to talk to us? Can you make our green light up different colors?
Okay, I didn't hear a breath. I didn't. Let's go to this next one. It also says EVP breath 2. Right there. It's so faint. Like, honestly, that really could just be somebody holding the recorder. All right, kitchen EVP conversation with Annie via Spirit Box.
What is your name? Anne. Hi, Anne. Are you the floor nurse, Anne? Or do you work in the kitchen, Anne? You work in the kitchen? Do you make the food? Going crazy. Yeah. Do you make tasty food, Anne? Shut up. And do you cook for the adults or for the children?
Yes.
Both of them?
Okay, I'm going to stop there. You hear the audio? Got a little, like, not a lot, like garbled? Jeez, I hate to say it. That's the sound of somebody editing. Jeez. Here we go. You'll hear it kick in. Right here.
And do you cook for the adults or for the children?
There it is.
Yes.
Both of them?
I'm sorry. I'm not hearing EVPs. All right, so come on. Give me something good. Give me something to work with here. This is 4th floor EVP Class A Scream, they say. I mean, sure, it could be a scream, but I don't know. I'm not like blown away by these EVPs. All right, ghost humming. Here we go.
Was that you? Humming?
I don't know what they're doing with their EVPs here, but the ticking sound is just throwing me off.
SSHH.
Yeah. Let's listen to the humming a few times. Oh, it's at the beginning. Here we go. I'm going to loop it. Here we go.
I'm cheating on both HEPH and Ollie.
I mean, that's definitely something making a humming sound. Manamu, what's up? What up, girl? Let me get you. Let's get some applause. We are quietly listening to EVPs from the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. I'm not entirely convinced. These EVPs aren't really making me feel really great. How are you, Manamu? I'm glad you're here. Here, you can have this.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
That would be my butthole.
Right here, this. Boo. Yeah, buttholes have been known to make weird sounds. Okay, let's hear third floor EVP Growl 1.
I have so many videos on that PLCE.
Ooh, you do? Did you investigate that place? Have you been there? Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Seen.
Oh, okay.
Not made.
Oh, jeez. Womp, womp, womp. I don't have that sound effect. Yeah. Sorry, you got me excited there for a second. Jeez. You lint liquor.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
Let's see if we can hear this growl. I want to hear the growl. So we have two, third floor EVP growl 1 and fourth floor EVP growl 2. Yeah. Maybe when we get through with this, I'll tell you guys my my ghost investigation story. Maybe if you're good. If you guys are good. If you're good, I'll tell you the story. Let's see if we can hear this growl. Oh! I wouldn't call it a growl. It sounds like somebody's got the bubble guts. And they shouldn't have eaten Taco Bell before doing an investigation.
That was a growl, wasn't it?
I have enough ghosts here.
That is not a growl. That is a bubble gut. Is your house haunted? I'm just curious. Tell me all about it. I want to know. Let's see if this the fourth floor EVP also sounds like bubble guts.
Back on?
Oh wait, go back. That was so fast. Yeah, that also sounds like bubble guts. I'm not. I mean, like when I think growl, I'm wanting to hear like.
Well, I live in apartment block.
Like I want to hear that as a growl. Yeah, my cat just stood up when I did that. I mean, I've had ghosts when I lived in an apartment. Yeah. Okay.
Some middle-aged man in a robe like to watch me. Flick the bean.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
I'll tell you guys my
And he hates Monster Mansion.
I'll tell you guys my apartment ghost story as soon as we're done with these EVPs. It's a good one. I don't think I've told anybody in a long time. All right, so we've got two left. The second to last one says cafeteria EVP, Sea Witch.
Can you turn the flashlight back on? That's awesome.
Oh, shit. Did y'all hear that? Can you hear that? Do I need to turn it up? Oh, shit. Go back.
Can you turn the flashlight back on? That's...
Can you hear it? Can y'all hear it? Do I need to turn it up? Oh, shit.
That's...
What was that?
I'm gonna turn it up. I'm sorry if it's gonna get really loud. So don't type anything in chat for a minute, because this is also my text to speech audio, and it's gonna get real loud. So I'm gonna max out the audio. So don't type anything in chat. It's gonna be really loud.
I can't understand it.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Supposedly it says Sea Witch.
That's...
Did you hear it? Like, it's a guttural voice. Like, see witch.
That's awesome. That's
14 raiders from Ollie Makes have
Whoa.
joined. I heard C.
Whoa, sorry, the TTS has turned way. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in.
See me now?
Welcome in, everybody. Holy jeez. Ollie, how's it going, friend? What was your stream about tonight? What's going on? Welcome, Raiders, to Beyond the Shadows podcast. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. We're listening to EVPs. We're trying to make sense of what this EVP is trying to say. They are saying it says "Sea Witch." I'm not hearing
all good,
Sea
buddy.
Witch.
We watched Spirited Away while I fixed things.
Oh, fantastic movie. Yes, I've recently turned my wife on to Studio Ghibli movies. She really, really likes Kiki's Delivery Service. And of course, Princess Mononoke is my very favorite, and I will watch Princess Mononoke over and over again until the day I die. Yeah. Love me Studio Ghibli. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, hello, Raiders. Welcome in. I'm glad. Thank you for the raid, buddy. I'm sure everybody that's here already knows you. I'm glad you're here. Ollie Makes, everybody. Ollie Makes, welcome. It's usually not so quiet. I've usually got some sound effects running or something, but we are listening to EVPs trying to make head or tails of this. Go ahead and we're going to don't type anything into chat for a second. I'm going to turn the volume back up. And supposedly this EVP is saying the words "Sea Witch." I'm not so sure it's "Sea Witch." Monomoo thinks it's "See Me Now." It's real quick, but it's like guttural. It's like "See Witch," something like that. Something like, I'm not sure. But tell me what you guys think.
That's awesome.
I don't know if "Sea Witch" is what I would think it is. I'm leaning more towards what Monomoo is saying. Maybe like "See Me." Like, I don't know. It's so hard to tell. We've got one more EVPs, and this is Energy Burst EVP, 3rd floor, number 2, it says.
Oh my god.
What the hell?
This time I heard single girl. Maybe in projecting.
What the shit is that? We do not... Well, yeah, we need to turn that down. That's a little loud. That is crazy. Like, that is a good, genuine reaction. Like, look, and let me show you guys the SoundCloud. You see this huge spike in audio here? That's the scream. We go from like 2, 3 decibels up to like 15 real fast.
Oh my god, what was that? Oh my god!
What a weird sound. I can honestly say that is something I have never heard before. They're calling it an energy burst. That is... I may or may not have goosebumps right now. I don't know if you can see him or not. I'm bumping up like crazy right now. That is fucking spooky. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that's fucking spooky as hell. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Hell no. That is the point in our investigation where everybody turns around and walks back the way they came. Nope the fuck right out of there. Yeah, okay. I turned the volume down. Speech chat is wide open, everybody. What do you guys think? Monica, you said you think you heard single girl? Oh, was that the witch one?
Can you turn the flashlight back on?
I was in ads.
That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, I do kind of hear single girl. It's just really weird. Like the reverberations in that place are so strong. I don't know. It's really hard to put my finger 100% on it.
Does anyone understand the Prada ad with Scarlett Johansson?
Prada, do we need to pull it up? Do we need to watch it? I don't want to watch a Prada ad. I don't. I haven't seen it. It seems like I'm always getting ads for the stupid gun shooting gates. Shoot the gun through the gates and it makes more guys show up and the more guys shoot. The one that's practically turned into a meme at this point. Jeez. Not crazy about these EVPs. I'm really not.
It's confusing.
We'll watch it another time. Okay, so I did tell you I was going to tell you guys my my apartment ghost story. All right. Hold on, because I do need to pull up a picture. Before I get too far down the line, I do want to say that this image is special. I've only shared it with one group of paranormal investigators. This is
yes.
Geez, I've only really I don't know why this hasn't come up on the podcast yet. Honestly, I got to log into my Facebook because it's like an early post from Facebook. So there's a podcast that I used to follow that I love their stuff. They told ghost stories from people. People would write in and tell their ghost stories, right? And so I was like, cool, I've got a creepy little ghost story, right? So I hit a rough spell probably 9 or 10 years ago, and I was homeless. It was rough. I'm not going to lie, it was rough. And, at the time, the only thing I had was a backpack. And, I picked up a stray cat, and the stray cat stuck to me. And, unfortunately, we lost her last year. She was Potato. She was my baby. I love her dearly, and I miss her so. I miss her every single day. And I'm trying really hard not to cry right now. Here's Potato.
Potatoes, precious. What's potatoes, huh?
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
That was my Potato. We were both homeless. We found each other. At my very lowest, I was living in a city park. Essentially, it was a free water park in the city park. And the water park had like a pumping station that pumped all the water through the water park. Well, I found my way into that pumping station, and that's where I lived. And I lived there for like 8-9 months, something like that. And I had a couple really good friends of mine that I met through my art. They believed in me, and they believed in what I was doing, and they took a chance on me. And they put me up in a hotel until I could save up enough money to get an apartment. And they helped me get an apartment. And I moved into this this apartment, I'm going to say this because I'm not saying I'm not grateful, but it was a shitty little apartment. It wasn't much. It was a 1-bedroom apartment, like 400 something square foot. It was very small. It wasn't the best. A lot of the people that lived there, they did a little drugs. All right. I'm not looking at the camera because I'm scrolling looking for this picture. But the neighbors weren't great. Lots of people staying up late. Lots of people making loud noises all the damn time. But I was in an apartment. That's what mattered to me, was I was in an apartment. And from like day one, something just didn't feel right in that apartment. And so I told my mom about it, and my mom come down, she walked in, and she like grabs her chest. She's like, "Oh, the energy in here is wrong." I was like, "Well, what do I need to do?" And she's like, "You need to sage this place, and you need to sage it now." And, at the time, I didn't really know what that meant. So she like explained it to me and walked me through the steps.
Wow, our social housing apartments all have at least 2 bedrooms, but yes, plenty of drugs.
Yeah. It's okay. I found the photo. But living in this apartment complex wasn't great. It sucked. And my mom's like, "You need to sage." So she told me how to sage, and she taught me how to, do the windows, do the walls, what you got to say when you're saging the house, all this other stuff. And I was like, cool, I'm going to order some sage from a local group. And this can be like, like my step into getting the energy right, because you could just feel it. It was just like, no matter what you did, it was like something was just like pushing you, because you were in the way of whatever was there. So, at the time,
Sweat drip down my.
right. So I ordered the sage, and it was supposed to come in the next day. I ordered it through Amazon, next day delivery. You know how we do. And, I was talking with somebody on the phone or chatting. I think I was talking with Hef, actually. I was like, I'm about to sage the place. I was like, the energy is just off in here. So I stayed up till like 2 a.m. rearranging furniture, making the energy feel good. Like, I liked how it felt. But like something just felt like unhappy. And I wake up the next morning and I had scratches on my neck. And at first I thought I scratched myself, or it's the cat. Well, for starters, Potato didn't have front claws. And she was old when I got her. And she doesn't climb, she didn't scratch, she didn't do anything. So immediately I ruled out Potato, because there's no way she could have scratched me. And at the time, I was doing industrial maintenance work. And if you've done any type of industrial maintenance work, you learn to keep your nails trimmed short, because you don't know what you're going to put your hands in, and you don't want to carry that shit home. So I did not have long nails. So there was no way I could have scratched myself. There was no way the cat did it. And so I posted this picture the next day. You want to see this picture? It's crazy. It's crazy. It seems, in hindsight, this seems trivial, like something small. But this really happened, and it happened to me. And you get to see my little chin without a beard and long hair. Get ready for this. So this was the morning after I ordered the sage. This was my neck. This is my neck right here. This is my neck. This is my chin. This is my unbearded chin, which, back then I shaved every day for work. But I showed this to my mom, and she's like, "I will bring you sage right now, and we will cleanse your house." And I remember saging my entire apartment, and afterward, I opened up all the windows And, I closed the door, but I left the windows open so I could air out a little bit. And I'm sitting out on the front porch, and I broke out my acoustic guitar, and I'm just playing. And the next apartment down from me was this lady in her, 70s or 80s. Shame on me for not remembering her name, but that was almost 10 years ago. She was the nicest lady. She had a little bit of a drinking problem, but she was so nice to me. And she always took in neighborhood cats. And it didn't matter to her if the cat was a stray, if she just found it on the street, and if it followed her home, she would take it inside. She would take care of the cat. And I told her, I said, I appreciate you taking those cats. I said, I'm a cat person. I love that you take care of these cats. And I would go out on the balcony and I would sit and I would play guitar, and she would just sit and listen. She'd sit with her eyes closed and she would listen, and I would sing her some songs. She was really nice. She had a drinking problem. Whatever, it happens. Not everybody's perfect, right? But we used to sit.
OMG, it's future me.
She had a vodka problem. She would sit outside with a big bottle of vodka and just chain smoke cigarettes and just pulling swigs off this bottle of vodka. She was really sweet, though. She was really very nice. But we talked about how she was, I was like, I appreciate you taking those cats. And she always told me how she was worried that when she passed, that nobody was going to take care of her cats. I was like, well, your daughter lives with you. Why wouldn't she take? She's like, I don't trust my daughter. Something isn't right. My daughter's into some drugs or something.
My addiction is weed.
Hey, everybody's got the thing. I'm not judging. Hey, it's all right. You can be a crazy cat lady all you want. But she's like, no, my daughter wouldn't take care of these cats. I know she wouldn't. And then, so I'm sitting outside. I'm drinking some wine, smoking a cigarette. At the time, I smoked cigarettes. And I was like, look at this. I went and showed her. Geez, I almost got her name. It's almost there. I don't remember her name. Damn. But I was like, look at this. And she's like, you need to sage the place. I was like, well, it's funny you say that because I just did it and I'm letting it air out. And she's like, good. You got to get that energy straight in there. I was like, yeah. She told me, she said, the 4 scratches is a symbol of a demonic attack because the number 3 symbolizes the Holy Trinity, and the 4 scratches is a bastardization of the Holy Trinity. And that's why when you see people get scratched by demons, there's always in the number 4, not the number 3. Because they're making a mockery of the Holy Trinity. Well, I'm not Christian. So I was like, oh, that's very interesting. We talked to her a little bit about it. And she said, well, you just need to take care of yourself. If you ever need to talk, you need to get away for a little bit. I'm always here. I'll always be sitting outside. I was like, that's cool. And it wasn't, like 2 or 3 days later, I noticed the energy in the apartment felt a little bit better. And then as the weeks went on, it started to get kind of like smothering again. Like you could feel it in your chest. Like when you dive into a pool and you're down at the bottom of the pool, that pressure on your chest, that's what it felt like all the time. And I wasn't sleeping. I was missing work because I wasn't sleeping. And I was like, geez.
4 is also the death number in Asia, particularly China.
Interesting. Very interesting. I didn't know that. But I could feel the energy changing again. It was going back to the way it was. And so I called my mom. I was like, hey, it's stifling in here. I don't know what to do. And she's like, you need to sage again. I was like, well, I just saged. It's not doing anything. And she's like, well, I don't know. She's like, you're not really religious, so I don't think, getting, like an exorcist in there is going to do you any good because you're not a Christian. I was like, well, okay, so what do I do?
I'm gonna head off. I need to get ready for the next walk for today. Have a good rest of the stream.
Thanks, Shark, for being here.
I'm so glad that demons see me as an ally. They help me so much. They are fallen angels that the Catholic Church deemed as evil.
Okay, so I go outside of my apartment, and I'm sitting outside, and the lady that lived the next apartment over was sitting there, and I was like, that energy is just fucked in there. I was like, I just got to get out, and I went for a walk, and she's like, yeah, you just need to get away from it a little bit. Go for a walk, clear your
Bye,
head.
Gummy.
So I leave and I cut across my yard. Well, yard that we did have at the apartment complex. And, I go a few blocks around and I come back. And by the time I start coming back around to my apartment complex, I see red and blue lights. And I'm like, what the hell?
Bye, Moni.
So I come up to the apartment complex. There's like 3 cop cars and an ambulance sitting there. And the ambulance was just getting ready to leave. So I walk up to my apartment. The ambulance leaves. The cops are there. And I walk up to my door. And the cops are standing up front talking to the lady's daughter. And he sees me. And so I unlock my door and I go in. But I leave like the window cracked so I can hear what's going on. And finally, dude comes over and knocks on my door. It's the cop. He's like, hey, can we talk to you? There's been an incident. I was like, incident? What do you mean? It's like, everything okay? He's like, yeah, the elderly woman that lived next door, she passed away. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, geez, I just talked to her not 30 minutes ago. And he said, well,
Does that lady know what 2 scrathses mean?
I don't know. She's not with us anymore. But she was gone. I was like, no, I just talked to her 30 minutes ago before I went for a walk. I was like, what happened? And he's like, well, it just seems like her heart gave up and her daughter came outside to check on her and she was sitting in her chair dead. I said, no way. I was like, I just saw her. And it was just blew me away. I was like, she was gone so fast. And
I can channel her.
do it, channel her. So the next day, the next morning I come outside and I sit on my little chair out on my balcony and I notice there's like 9 cats sitting outside. And then I recognized them. It was the old woman's cats, right? So this old woman's daughter pushed her mom's cats outside the apartment and shut the door. Just pushed them out, let them go. So I call an animal shelter. No animal shelter could take cats. Of course, they never can. They're always overwhelmed. They get it. I wasn't about to take on like 9, 10 cats. So I shot over to Walmart and I bought a couple totes and a couple heated blankets. And I insulated a couple totes and cut a hole in the side of them so all the cats could have somewhere warm to stay because it was wintertime. And, that day, once I set up the little hopes for the cats, I took some pictures and I started posting on Facebook. I was like, hey, y'all, this woman passed away and her cats have just been pushed outside of her apartment. Anybody feel like adopting a cat? And we got every single one of those cats adopted out. It took me 3 or 4 months, but we got every single one of the cats adopted. And the minute that last cat left, the energy in my apartment cleared. And I really wish I had the picture. I don't have the picture anymore. But I took a selfie of me sitting on my front porch. And at the time, my front porch light was green. And I took a selfie and I said, hey, we got the last cat adopted. Thank you, everybody, for helping. And the woman's daughter commented, she's like, oh my God, don't you see her face? I said, what face? And she edited the photo and cropped it and zoomed in, and you could see the old woman's face in the brickwork behind me.
2 is Kitsune.
Ooh, Kitsune, I know that word. And she's like, that's my mom's face in the brickwork behind you. I said, no fucking way. And I went back out, tried to recreate the photo, couldn't do it. And so I called my mom. I was like, Mom, what's going on? I was like, this woman passed. I got all her cats adopted. I said, but now the energy in my apartment feels better. She said, that old woman took care of that bad energy for you because you took care of her cats.
Okay, that's fucked up.
I was like, no way. She's like, she's like, I know you took care of those cats. I said, well, yeah, of course I took care of those cats. Nobody else was taking care of them, right? she's like, did you get them all adopted? I said, yeah. And I was like, the last one left today. And she's like, did the energy change today? I said, yeah. She said, that old woman took care of that negative energy because she took care of her cats. It's like, what? No,
Wow.
no fucking way. And it wasn't until like
In a good way.
yeah, it was, it sucked that she passed. She was really cool. She was one of the few people that would just sit and listen to me play guitar as opposed to being like, play Sublime, play this song, play Freebird, whatever. She would just sit and listen and she would enjoy it. And we would have good conversations. And it wasn't until like a year later that I was really like, holy shit, she did clear the negative energy from that apartment. And from that day forward, I have never gone into an apartment, in a house, in a building, anywhere, and just felt negative energy.
My mum has helped me more as a ghost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That old woman looked out for me so much that it's hard to overlook it. Like, this picture made it on another podcast and they talked about it and they listened to my story and they talked about it. And people were like, yeah, demonic possession, all this other shit. And then when I told them about the old woman when she passed, that was when I realized that she was the one that cleared the negative energy in the place I was living. And since then, I like to believe that she's still hanging around because I do live currently in a very old house. This house was built in the 1920s. I believe she's still hanging around and she's still taking care of us. I hope that she moves on, but, maybe she's just watching, making sure we're okay. But
You're famous.
I guess, it's the girls on the podcast. I don't even remember the name of the podcast. Geez, it was so long ago. That was like 8 or 9 years ago. I mean, they get at the time I was doing a different podcast, and that one got me like 40 or 50 new followers, but that podcast is dead in the water. Unlike this one, that podcast only made it like 5 episodes. We're getting close to our 100th episode, so anywho, that's my apartment ghost story. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. I'll never forget these scratches, and I'll never forget that old woman. I'll never forget the energy. It was just wild, man. Like, scrolling through these pictures, like, I didn't realize all these pictures of these cats were still here on my Facebook. Oh, geez, that quick I lost the pictures. Yeah, I don't think you guys want to see shirtless pictures. Ugh. Where'd the cat pictures go? I just saw them. Huh.
Of who?
I swear I just saw the pictures of that woman's cats that I posted. Here's one. Yeah. Yeah, there's one of the cats. See? Very small balcony. It was many, many years ago. You see, I put a little food bowl down there. I took care of those cats, and I took care of them good. I think my little brother actually took 2 of them in.
Spooky.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really wild. We're getting off subject here, folks. Oh, geez. Well, let's just skip ahead to Act 4. We're down to our last...
Mighty toasted.
Lightly toasted. Yeah, those were good cats. Yeah, I think just recently that apartment complex was on the news, local news for that part of town, and there was a bunch of people that got arrested for cooking meth in the apartments. But it is what it is. Come a long way in the last 10 years. I would have never thought 10 years ago, when I was sleeping in that fucking pump house, that I'd be here telling paranormal tales and stories on a podcast. Never. Never. It's come so far. It has come so far. Well, let's get back into it, folks. I'm sorry to deviate so much. I've got a lot of little stories like this. The next time we do a ghost story, I will I'll tell you guys my story about the paranormal investigation I did where we saw the green light, and we'll tell you the story about Sierra. Next time we do a ghost story, remind me, Sierra and green light, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. All right, folks, let's get back into Act 4. Act 4, the human encounters. Act 4, everybody, Act 4.
Well, I never thought my retarded ass could be a shaman, but there we go.
How are you a shaman? I want to know. Tell me all about it. We're going to run it a little long tonight, but that's all right.
I'll be like Green Lantern.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that works out because it's actually kind of part of the story. But you'll get it. We'll talk about it next time. It's a good story. It's creepy. It's really creepy. Well, let's dive in. We got to get this research done.
Exactly. How am I a shaman?
I don't know. Because you have foreseen how awesome this podcast is, and that's why you came here tonight. And you knew that you would be a contribution to this investigation. That's why you're here. That's right. Okay, Act 4, everybody. This is the human encounters. Oh, turn up. Let's have us a little more beverage. Exactly. So for all the devices, cameras, and data loggers that fill Waverly Hills every night, what lingers most are the stories. Not numbers, not decibels, not EMF spikes, but people. Flesh and blood witnesses who walked in expecting a thrill and walked out forever changed. Long-term volunteers know the building better than anyone. They sweep the floors, lead tours, lock up after the crowds have gone, and almost all of them have a story. One former guide named Mark described locking up late one winter night. He was on the 4th floor, alone, when he heard the squeak of a wheelchair going down the corridor. He assumed another guide had stayed behind, until he remembered that there were no functioning wheelchairs left on that floor. The sound grew closer. He turned on his flashlight, expecting to see one of the display chairs rolling from a draft. Instead, he saw nothing, just the hallway stretching into blackness, and then the sound stopped directly beside him. Mark said he felt something brush against his hand, the cold metal edge of a handle that wasn't there. Another guide named Carla refused to work on the 5th floor alone. She'd been given a tour when a door down the hall slammed shut hard enough to shake the walls. Every guest jumped. Carla went to investigate, but the heavy steel door of room 502, was still bolted open and stopped by a wedge. She says it still swung on its hinges as if an invisible hand had forced it closed. The wedge was gone. When asked why she continued to work there, Carla only smiled and said, quote, "You get used to it. You learn to say goodnight before you leave. In 2011, a group called Bluegrass Paranormal spent a weekend locked inside Waverly Hills for a research project. They divided into teams documenting every sound, temperature fluctuation, and motion trigger. Around 2 a.m., one team stationed near the body chute heard footsteps descending toward them. They assumed another group was coming down from above, but their radios confirmed everyone else was accounted for on higher floors. The footsteps stopped midway, followed by a slow dragging noise, like someone pulling a gurney. Their EMF meters spiked, the air pressure dropped, then, through the static of the digital recorder came the voice, "Keep going." None of them slept that night. Another investigator, a veteran named Paul, worked Waverly dozens of times over 15 years. He never believed in ghosts until the night he brought his daughter, a budding photographer. While she adjusted her tripod on the 3rd floor, she turned pale and whispered, Paul looked up and saw a figure standing behind her, just a few feet away. He lunged forward, and it vanished. The photos she took seconds before showed a faint outline beside her shoulder, tall, thin, and featureless, and Paul hasn't returned since. Not everyone who visits Waverly is a professional investigator. One woman, Sandra, booked a private tour in 2015 after losing her husband to lung disease. She walked through the patient's ward, touching the rusted bed frames and reading names scratched into the plaster. Near the children's wing, she heard a ball roll across the floor, slow and deliberate. Stopping at her feet, she picked it up and whispered her husband's name. The air grew cold. Then, clear as a bell, a child's voice said, She left the ball there. When she returned months later, it was gone. Couples on night tours report being separated by unseen hands or feeling pressure on their backs guiding them forward. One group heard a chorus of coughs ripple through the hallway, followed by the unmistakable sound of labored breathing. When they checked their recorders later, the coughs were gone, but the faint voice whispered, "Don't forget us." Physical contact is...
A fucking child's voice.
Yes, a fucking child's voice. Yeah, that would rack me to the core. Physical contact is rare, but it happens. Visitors have reported scratches appearing on their arms and backs. Others have felt cold fingers grip their wrists. In 2018, a skeptic named Brian joined an overnight event determined to debunk the hype. He mocked the darkness, shouted into empty rooms, even dared the ghost to touch him. Later, in the morgue, he suddenly went quiet. His friends found him shaking, clutching his neck, 2 red marks like fingerprints pressed into the skin below his jaw. When shown the photos afterwards, Brian refused to comment. He simply said, Security cameras have captured doors opening on their own, lights flickering where no power runs, and orbs darting across the frame. Some of these could be dust, drafts, or insects, but others move with purpose. A psychic who once investigated there described it as a feedback loop of human emotion. She said, "You don't just sense the dead, you feel every ounce of what they felt when they died." Some volunteers take breaks, claiming exhaustion, depression, or heaviness that follows them home. A few have even said that Waverly calls them back. They'll hear faint echoes of a door slam while lying in bed, a smell of hospital disinfectant in their homes. It's as if the building leaves an imprint that can't be washed away. Even skeptics acknowledge the psychological power of that place. One psychologist who studied group reactions at Waverly noted that...
Are you purposely muting what they said?
Oh, did it not come through? Oh, man. What? That's supposed to be, hold on. This is what it's supposed to sound like. Shame on me. Oh, geez. There's a whole bunch of quotes that weren't even there. Well, sorry, folks. This is the downside to yeah, like everything else works. Like it's the same filter that does.
They don't want to be heard.
It's the same filter that does the deep voice. Exact same filter. It's just pitched a different way. There's no reason that one shouldn't have been working. That's so weird. Like it was even selected as my microphone as the input. Oh, that's so weird. This is what it's supposed to have sounded like. Like I'm creepy and a character.
The ha ads.
Fucking ads. Alright, let's get back into. Alright, so room 502 remains the epicenter. Yeah, I can't snooze it while it's running. Jeez. We're gonna just wait a minute. It's only 40 seconds, folks. We'll try to let everybody have inclusion when it comes to these episodes. Not everybody can afford the subscription fees. I get it. So for those of you listening, I apologize for the cut out of the vocals. That's really weird. Really weird. Wasn't quite expecting that. My intention was to have this really cool voice filter that sounded like a character from Hazbin Hotel. Because I like to use this voice when I'd use quotations, because it sounds old-timey, like an old radio. And that's why I use it for quotations. Yeah, I don't understand why it wasn't working. Super weird. Super weird. That's fine. That's the downside to doing a live edit on a podcast. It happens sometimes. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Welcome back from ads. We're back to room 502.
Oh, well.
No, it's the ghosts. The ghosts have fucked with the audio settings. It's got to be what it is, because nothing changes here. The only thing I use this computer set up for is the podcast. It's the only thing. Nothing changed. So weird. So room 502 remains the epicenter. Paranormal teams approach it with caution, some refusing to enter altogether. One winter evening, a pair of researchers left a camera recording inside the room for 6 hours. When they reviewed the footage, a single frame showed something hanging from the ceiling. A dark rope-like shape swaying gently. Golly, say that 5 times fast. Rope-like shape swaying gently. Rope-like shape swaying gently. Yeah, it's a tongue twister for sure. Gone in the next frame, no one had been inside. Another team left a flashlight on the floor and asked for a sign. The beam flickered twice, paused, then blinked once more. The same pattern every time, repeated the question. Whether coincidence or communication, everyone who stands in room 502 describes the same oppressive sadness. A few hear faint weeping. One investigator described it best. Here we go, gonna use my quotation voice. It feels like the walls themselves remembered the moment she let go. Perhaps the most infamous experience happens in the death tunnel, also known as the body chute. Past midnight, the air grows colder. The sound behaves strangely. Echoes stretch for seconds longer than they should. Tour guides warn visitors not to go in alone, but many still do. One guide tells of a man who descended halfway, taunting the dark, only to bolt back up screaming. He claimed he'd seen figures at the bottom, rows of them, standing shoulder to shoulder, watching silently. When others checked minutes later, the tunnel was empty. Thermal cameras sometimes record shapes there, faint and human-sized, colder than the surrounding air. Some claim to hear voices whispering numbers 5, 6, 7, perhaps counting the bodies that once passed through. If there's one truth everyone agrees on, it's that Waverly Hills changes people. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, stepping into that building means confronting the weight of human suffering. The echoes of thousands of final breaths still linger in the mortar and the bricks. The volunteers still lock up every night. They turn out the lights, bolt the doors, and whisper their goodbyes. And somewhere deep inside, in the quiet that follows, another sound begins. Faint footsteps moving through the dark. Because at Waverly Hills, the workday never truly ends. Cool. That's the end of Act 4. Alright, so we've got 11 minutes until our next ad. Let's go ahead and try to rip through Act 5 right quick and get to our closing statements. See if we can sip a little bit more of this brewski and get a little more stupid. Stupid. Monomi was going to ask you if you were having beverages, adult beverages, but I think it's morning over there, isn't it? Morning or noon-ish? Something like that. One of these days, I'm going to have somebody drinking along with me. I don't know who, but somebody. And it's going to be a momentous occasion. Coffee? Oh, jeez. What time is it there? I'm just curious. I know you're way across the pond.
Holy shit, it's 11 already.
11? Ugh. It's 7 p.m. here. Gross. Time zones.
I'll get drinks for next time.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'll hold you to it.
Bailey's is a good morning drink.
Ooh, yeah. I like Bailey's and coffee. Get silly. Alright, let's get into Act 5. We're getting close to the end, folks. I hope you're starting to draw your conclusions together, because I know I am. Let's tie into it. Act 5, everybody. Act 5. So by now, Waverly Hills Sanitorium has outlined everyone who once walked its corridors. The doctors are gone. The patients are gone. The nurses who comforted them have long since passed into memory, and yet the building endures. Cracked, crumbling, but still impossibly alive. The truth is, Waverly's hauntings didn't begin with death. It began with hope. Thousands came there believing they could be cured. They brought with them faith, fear, and desperation. And that kind of energy seeps into the walls. The kind that doesn't disappear when the body does. The building was designed to heal. But it became a witness to pain on a scale few places have ever experienced. For skeptics, Waverly Hills is a perfect storm of explainable phenomena, old architecture, creaking steel, magnetic fields, and suggestion. For believers, it's proof that consciousness doesn't die, that emotion can outlive flesh. Neither side has won the argument, and after decades of investigations, thousands of hours of footage, and more data than any other haunted site in the world, Waverly Hills still refuses to give up its secrets. The same recordings that one person calls interference, another calls proof. The same shadow one man calls a trick of the light, another calls a presence. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Waverly Hills wasn't meant to give clear answers. In a world obsessed with certainty, the building reminds us that some questions are meant to remain open. What happens when we die? What lingers after tragedy? Can a place carry memory? Stand in Waverly long enough, and those questions stop feeling philosophical. They start feeling personal. Today, Tina and Charlie Mattingly continue to preserve the building not just as a haunted site, but as a monument to history. Restoration efforts have saved parts of the roof, reinforced the structure, and turned some of the old wards into museum spaces. They host fundraisers, charity events, and seasonal tours. Despite its infamy, the owners treat Waverly Hills with respect, as sacred ground, not a spectacle. They understand that spirits, real or imagined, belong to a legacy that deserves dignity. The sanatorium isn't a horror attraction in the eyes. It's a memorial. Even during daylight, the halls feel reverent. Visitors speak in hushed tones, instinctively lowering their voices as though in a cathedral. Some bring flowers and others bring recorders. Everyone leaves with something they didn't have when they arrived. But what makes Waverly Hills endure isn't just the ghosts, it's what it reveals about the living. People go there to face their fear, not just of spirits, but of death itself. To stand in a place where thousands of people took their last breath and realize that life continues somehow, somewhere. The paranormal has always been humanity's way of refusing finality. We need to believe that something of us persists, that consciousness isn't extinguished by silence. Waverly Hills feeds that need, not by offering proof, but by offering experience. That kind of the kind that chills your bones and forces you to wonder. In that sense, Waverly isn't just haunted, it's honest. It holds a mirror to our deepest anxieties about morality, isolation, about the fragility of hope. When visitors say they feel something inside the building, maybe what they're feeling is themselves. Their empathy, their fear, their reflection in the suffering that once filled those rooms. At night, when the last tours have ended and the gates are locked, the sanatorium returns to its stillness. The city's lights glow faintly below, and the breeze rustles the broken windows. If you listen closely, you might hear the faint roll of a ball down a hallway, or the squeak of a long abandoned gurney. You might catch the smell of antiseptic, or the echo of a woman's voice singing to their parents. Or maybe it's just the wind, finding its way through a building that refuses to forget. Either way, the effect is the same. You leave changed. You look at the world differently. Aware that somewhere on that hill between life and death, something continues to move. There's a legend among the guides that say when the fog settles thick over the hill at night, the building itself seems to breathe, expanding and contracting within the mist, alive in its own strange rhythm. They call it the heartbeat of Waverly. Maybe it's the wind through the corridors, maybe it's the shifting air pressure, or maybe it's something else, something older and quieter, waiting. Whatever the truth, the building endures because people keep remembering it. Every story told, every investigation, every whisper into the dark keeps the heart of Waverly beating. The dead aren't the only ones haunting the place. Ooh, that's spooky. The audio quit. The living do too. All right. So we've come to the end. The end. The end. This is the end of it. So what do we think about the Waverly Hills Sanatorium? Is this paranormal? I want to hear everybody's theories. So let me hear them. Manamu, I know you're very active in chat tonight. What do you think about Waverly Hills? Haunted? Yes, no, maybe so? I have my ideas. I'm going to wait to hear yours. So we're dealing with a place that has very... Legit. Oh, legit. Okay. We're going to give it a ding. Manamu gives it a ding. All right. We're dealing with a place with deep roots. Deep roots with energy. Strong energy. This isn't your cookie cutter kind of place. This is a place that, at the high estimate, 60,000 people died here. I mean, how many people died at Gettysburg? You know, let me look it up right quick. I can't type because I've been drinking. 7,000 to 76, or 7,000 to 7,600 soldiers died. So we're talking 1/10 of the people that died at Gettysburg potentially died at Waverly Hills. 1/10. 1/10. Think about that. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. 60,000 people. So I'm curious. Let me get. I'm going to pull up a city. Flagstaff, Arizona. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting at something here. This entire town. Flagstaff, Arizona. Just about 60,000 people. We're talking the entire population of Flagstaff, Arizona has died at Waverly Hills. I'm going to snooze this ad. The entire town. Flagstaff is huge. Look at all these houses. Look at all these houses. 60,000 people live here. Look at all these people. Look at all these houses. So imagine everybody within this city limits died in one building. Think about that for a second. Surely we would have a haunting. Surely. All right? However, I have an idea. When you have 60...
We have a Flagstaff, but it's mostly business.
Flagstaff? Really? Interesting. So imagine 60,000 people dying in a single building. Think of all that energy from people expelled into the universe. So let's see. I'm just gonna look one more thing up. And I mean, this is relevant to what we're talking about. A large portion of Kentucky is on a single solid base of a limestone. Limestone is the battery that holds emotional energy. We talked about this extensively in season 1, considering things like the Enfield poltergeist, considering things like the Salem witch trials. We're dealing with cities built on bedrock of limestone. Limestone naturally holds psychic energy, all right? So considering that Kentucky is largely on a foundation of limestone, when you have a concentration of 60,000 people dying in a single place, where does that energy go? It goes into the ground. Admittedly, what I'm saying is a little far-fetched. Sure, I get it. However, I believe that yes, Waverly Hills Sanitorium is haunted. However, I don't think it's haunted like you think. I don't think that there are spirits trapped there. I feel like the energy released by people that have died at Waverly Hills has been trapped in the limestone of the entire state. All right? When that many people die in such a high concentration, in such a fine point, that energy has to go somewhere. And it goes into the ground. All right? So when this happens, we get what is called a residual haunting. It's not necessarily an individual spirit that's stuck there.
Makes sense.
Right. You see what I'm getting at here? It's not necessarily a single individual that's stuck there. The limestone is holding that emotional energy, and as a result, it's stuck on repeat. It's like a movie being replayed over and over and over again. This is the same phenomena we get when we have medieval castles turned into hotels, but they see the lady in white walk down a hallway and then pass through a wall. Because if you look at the original layout of that building, where that lady in white passes through the wall, there used to be a doorway there. That is a residual haunting, people. Castles are notoriously built on limestone. This is why castles are so quote-unquote haunted. All right? That energy is stored in the limestone, and that recording of that emotional and psychic energy just replays and replays and replays. This is what we're seeing in Kentucky at Waverly Hills. Sure, it's haunted, but we're having what's called a residual haunting. There is such a high concentration of death in this.
It's kind of like how everything within this illusion is just a massive blob of energy, but this specific group of energy is cosplaying as a human.
Right. It's very similar to that. Yeah. I love the analogy of a castle. Somebody passing through a wall. Oh, I saw the ghost. It went downstairs and it passed straight through the wall. But if you look at the floor plans of the original building, there used to be a door there. That energy is replaying a path it used to take. There's a strong emotional tie to that path. So that energy is replaying. What you're seeing is a movie on repeat. This is a type of haunting, yes. But it's not a malevolent type. But don't get me wrong. We do also see malevolent types of hauntings in areas with high concentration of limestone. Sure, it happens. I get it. This, I can say, probably is not a malevolent type of haunting. We hear about people being grabbed. We hear about people being pushed or cold spots. But we don't hear anything about people being attacked. So I don't think we're dealing with a traditional type of haunting. This is, in my opinion, I feel like we're definitely dealing with a residual haunting. But to be clear, this is a very haunted place. So yes, Waverly Hills Sanitorium is haunted, but not in the traditional sense. We're dealing with residual. This is a residual haunting. Absolutely. So yes. Haunted. Haunted like a motherfucker. Awesome. I'm glad we got to...
Yeah, I was watching a butterfly the other day going back to the same flowers, so I picked it to see if it goes back to the coordinated flower or if it recognizes that I now have tasty flower. It went back to where the flower was.
So you see, you understand. Energy is residual. It's funny you say the thing about the flower. There was a study where these guys took a plant and were able to photograph its electromagnetic field, and then they would cut a leaf off of the plant and they photograph it again, and that plant still showed the electromagnetic frequency of the branch that was missing.
Same thing.
Yeah. This is totally normal. Let me see if I can find it.
Have you heard plant music?
Yes, I have. I am an aspiring photographer, or not photographer, an aspiring musician, and I do play with some synthesizers and stuff like that, and I really dig the plant music stuff, the fungus music. Oh, geez. I mean, what you're getting is a baseline signal out of a living
Mushroom
living
make
organism.
the best music, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. However, to be fair, they are pumping that signal through a bunch of filters and processors, and they're modifying that signal to make it sound like what they want it to sound like. But there is a signal coming from plants. Yeah, I can't find the picture I'm looking for.
Still cool.
Yeah. So essentially, what we're looking at is there's a photo of a plant, a branch on the left and the right, and they have a mean of photographing the electromagnetic field around that plant, right? So you see the left part and the right part. One photograph shows both. So they go and remove this side of the plant, and then they photograph it again with the same process. And you see this side, but then there's like a ghostly image of this half of the plant. There is a scientific method that proves this. And what we're looking at is residual energy. And I really think this is what we're dealing with tonight with the Waverly Hills Sanitorium. We have so much residual energy in a single place that it is trapped there. There is no getting rid of it. You could level the place, put a new building there, and you're going to have spirits walking all over the place, phasing through walls, going through floors, doing flips, whatever. It's going to keep happening because at this point it is completely embedded into the limestone of the place. There's no getting rid of it. You would have to get rid of the limestone beneath the building to fix that place.
Farts are residual energy of poop.
This is true. I am not arguing with you about that. Absolutely. Oh, geez. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, folks. Before we go, I'm going to give a shout out to Second Light Paranormal. Thanks for letting us use your EVP clips. If y'all are mad about it, I am sorry. I wasn't planning on. I really wasn't planning on using your stuff without asking. I'm sorry. Y'all's clips look the best. Thank you again, Second Light Paranormal. You find them on SoundCloud. Waverly Hills Sanitorium, everybody. Waverly Hills Sanitorium. What a story. What a story. Let's see if we've got anybody to raid tonight. I'm not 100% sure we do. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold up. Wait a minute. I always forget about this step. Always wait until the end. Oh, well look, Hef's streaming. Let's raid Hef. Might as well. We're gonna raid Hef, everybody. Let's see what the hell he's doing. Voices of the Void, surprise! All right, folks. Well, we got one more thing I got to read before we get going. Thanks everybody for showing up tonight. Thanks you, Monamu. Thank you, Shark. Thank you.
I'll close that tab.
Thanks, Monamu. I appreciate you being here tonight. Great conversation. I appreciate your input tonight. We're probably going to lean into something more cryptid or alien or UFO.
More spooky sounds.
Yes. Here you go. Well, we're probably going to lean into something more cryptid or UFO, alien related next week. Unless somebody emails me. We'll see what happens. But thanks, everybody. Again, if you've got a personal story that you want to send me and we can read it out here in the podcast, be sure to email us at beyondtheshadowspodcast@gmail.com. I will read your emails. It's fine. If you don't want me to read your email, it's fine. Let me know. I'm a human. Talk to me. I talk back. But we're going to get on this one last time. Here we go. Ooh, creepy. The audio cuts out. You can still visit Waverly Hills today. Walk through its corridors. Run your hands along the cracked walls. Feel the air grow heavy with memory. You hear the silence between the echoes and realize that what haunts this place isn't evil. It's history. It's us. Maybe ghosts are real, maybe they're not. But something is there, waiting for you to listen. And if you do, you stand still in that darkness long enough, you'll understand why some places never let go. Because the most haunted places aren't cursed by spirits. They're haunted by remembrance. So if you find yourself in a long, dark corridor, unsure how you've gotten there, you turn around, the same corridor behind you. All the doors are closed, the paint peeling from the walls. Suddenly a door opens in front of you. Don't go in. Whatever you do, don't go in. Don't follow the shadows. But whatever you do, make sure you follow us. Beyond the shadows. Good night, everybody.
Creature like that. How would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs. Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him. Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.